What's up, y'all? Peace. This is Jay Dizzle. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is the new channel. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment. Even if you don't agree with what I say, it's still worth a dialogue. And really, this message is really going out to those who support young Pharaoh and Seti, those who even support Farrakhan, and just some food for thought on the whole situation. Just to bring some clarity to some of these things, because we have to really ask ourselves, for some of y'all that's on this bandwagon that want to continuously throw not just Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, but other people under the bus, other organizations and other individuals that have a track record of work. But so many of our people who claim they're about Black nationalism, claim that they're conscious, claim that they're about community building, are some of the first ones to jump on the bandwagon. I've broken this down to two different reasons why I believe that some people are quick to do this. And the first one is fear. It's fear. The second one is self-hate. So for instance, when we look at some of these well-known figures in the media, some of these Black people, some of them used to be preachers and ministers and reverends and whatnot. And when we really look at it, a lot of them didn't start out as coons. A lot of these fire chasing race baiters, as you may call them, or some of these people who we now have identified collectively as people who are not with us, they didn't start out that way. They used to be with us. I'm talking about like a Al Sharpton or a Jesse Jackson or even a Creflo Dollar or a TD Jakes. These cats used to actually be with the business. I believe fear set in. And then they switched. Or for whatever reasons. Could have been for money. So now when I look at this situation going on when, for the past few years, we've had young Pharaoh, and I've done this on my other channel, on my Nethercat channel. I did a couple of videos about this. Got pretty good response, considering I only have about 4,300 followers on that channel. So the numbers were pretty good on that. Got a good response. So what I'm saying is, when you really look at this, and you keep hearing young Pharaoh say the same things about Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad, implying that this is what Malcolm X said. But here's a question. Here's a challenge. I'm going to challenge all of y'all who support young Pharaoh. Because I understand that a lot of y'all that support him, you only support him because he's saying something that you wanted to hear. You don't really support him, because if you really supported him and if you really cared about his well-being, you would tell him to chill out with all that rah-rah, because he's making enemies. It's not like he can come to your city and do a major event, because too many people would be there to protest it and it wouldn't go down. But I just challenge you this. Show me where Malcolm X ever called Elijah Muhammad a pedophile, or even referred to the women that Elijah was sleeping with as underage. I challenge you, find that. Because just as recently as the other day, young Pharaoh claimed that Malcolm X called Elijah Muhammad a pedophile and referred to the women as underage. But I challenge you to find where he said that. Find for yourself if Malcolm X ever said Elijah Muhammad is a pedophile. You're not going to find it, because he never said that. So you just have to ask yourself, who does it really benefit when young Pharaoh, Sara Suten Seti, and many of y'all jump on this bandwagon of fuck Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, and their traders and their agents? Who does that really benefit? Let alone, what's the end game to the government using Farrakhan as an agent? What's the end game? How does that help them for Farrakhan to expose the synagogue of Satan, expose the government, call together our people in unity and mobilize us to do positive things? How does that help the government? How does it help the government that so many celebrities are waking up, giving praise to this man, saluting this man for giving them a whole new way of thinking, and now these people are giving back to the community like never before? How does that help the government? let alone the fact that I know some of y'all may not be privy or haven't even really researched the information on the death of Malcolm X. But even Malcolm X's own daughter will tell you that she knows Farrakhan didn't have anything to do with his murder, except for the fact that maybe he said some things in a climate where a lot of people were upset. And maybe that added to the atmosphere. But damn it, you'd have to blame a lot of the Nation of Islam for that, because everybody was mad when Malcolm went out saying the things that he was saying and undermining the Nation of Islam. But even his daughter acknowledges, and even people who were there acknowledge that it was the government that wanted Malcolm X dead. It was the CIA that followed Malcolm X when he made his homage. It was the FBI with recorded audio that you can find right now on YouTube. It was the FBI that tried to get him to switch, and he wouldn't do it. And maybe y'all don't know, but Malcolm X made an apology, apologizing to Elijah Muhammad for things that he said and the way he conducted himself. Remember, Malcolm X was the one that said, never go to your enemy's media to disrespect or undermine a black leader or a black organization. Malcolm X said that. I love Malcolm X, but he said that, and he went against that. That's the same thing y'all are doing. And I'm hearing people justify it so many different ways. And I'm not going to say any names, because some of the people who I've had dialogue with have actually had, enough integrity to look at it from a different way and understand the principle of why I was saying that it's inappropriate for us to disrespect someone like Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam on our enemies' platforms. And some of them actually seen that, understood that, and fell back and actually issued apology, or at least, gave a salute or nod of respect for that. But I see a lot of people that's also they want to use different elders who may have said some distasteful or some things that indicated they don't really get down with Farrakhan. So they're going to use some of our great ancestors who, number one, have never built anything like the Nation of Islam, don't have institutions still standing, and really that most of these people that will use these elders, they're not actually following in the footsteps of these elders that now they want to use to justify the off-code fuckery. That's number one. But number two, even these elders who said these things did not go to our enemies' platforms to say it. They said it in a closed room with just our people. That would be more appropriate, because there's plenty of things that I don't agree with about Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, and many other black organizations, but I will not trash them in public. That's a conversation that we have amongst each other, because the detriment of doing that is you leave us all vulnerable. You leave us all vulnerable when you will throw someone under the bus who the enemy, the enemy doesn't like, because of their stance and the works that they've put in over these decades. And when you throw them under the bus and you show that there's any kind of division, they're going to exploit that division. And once they can neutralize that person, everybody else is just food for the pickings. So who does it really benefit is what I'm saying. You got Catholic priests raping little boys and girls every single day, but you do not hear Catholics throwing them under the bus. You do not hear law enforcement throwing them under the bus. You do not hear law enforcement throwing their own under the bus when they know that as an occupation, they probably beat their women more than any other occupation. When they know that most police officers that lose their life lose it to suicide or health reasons, not because of people shooting them. But Blue Lives Matter will never tell you that, because they're going to stay on code. You got rabbis giving babies herpes because they're sucking their dicks as babies, but you don't hear other Jewish people throwing them under the bus. You won't even get a Jewish person to admit that they were very much involved in the process of slavery. They won't even say that. They'll pretend they don't know. That's how come they wanted to pull that book from Amazon. Is it a coincidence that now our people are starting to wake up and really be able to piece this thing together? And they take Farrakhan off of Facebook, IG, and pull his book from Amazon. 3 Jewish-owned companies. You guys don't see this, man. And I'll tell you the truth, man. Farrakhan could give a damn about a Facebook or Instagram. I'm sure he doesn't even run his Facebook or Instagram pages, nor his Twitter. I'm sure he doesn't give a damn. We're more upset about it than he is. The reason we're upset about it because we understand. See, as y'all celebrate this stuff, y'all are celebrating them taking away the voice of a man who has served the community for 60 years. And y'all are celebrating that as if that's not the prerequisite to start neutralizing any form of black thought. That's what's really going on. I've been telling you this for years now. Me and Malcolm Flex did a show about this, and he broke it down how they literally have people in place on YouTube, particularly in other social media sites, where they will neutralize any opposing view. It's no wonder that white boys could talk about nigga this, nigga that, apes, monkeys, kill them, this and that all day long, and they don't get banned. It's no wonder that you can see homosexuality activity in front of your face, pornography on Facebook, they don't get banned. But any of us who start speaking some real truth, not even out of hate, gets banned. I've been banned on Facebook 30 days at a time, at least 4 or 5 times. Not for saying the F-bomb, just for saying that I'm not down with the LGBT agenda. This is what's going on right now. You see, one of the first things in war that they do is they neutralize the voice and manipulate the information stream. That's why they say all wars start with a lie. We're talking about warfare, not just the actual physical combatant element of war. We're talking about warfare. So in warfare, truth is always compromised and tilted in order to benefit those who are going to invade another territory. This is why they told us before they went to Afghanistan and Iraq that, oh, they had weapons of mass destruction and they were involved in 9/11. But we found out that wasn't true. They didn't have no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And the people who hijacked those planes were from Saudi Arabia. They weren't from Afghanistan. So they had to build a whole case to compromise the truth, neutralize anybody that's opposing to that, so that they can get the momentum and the support to do what they already wanted to do. And it's like we see these things and we don't think that these apply domestically to us as a people who they have waged war on and have been oppressing in this continent alone for the last 400 years, but we don't think that these same tactics apply to us. And then we do them a favor. Look, Seti used to be on some good shit. Now, I won't even discount the value of him to the community, despite the fact that I think after the last few years, he's been against the grain. The last few years, he's been on some other shit. Let's just keep it real. But I do know people that because of Seti have turned their lives around and started banging for the real cause. I can't take that away from him. I can say it right now. Like I said in the video, I'm going to put the link in there. Like I said in a couple videos on my other channel, look, man, get back to banging on the beat, Seti. No one does it better than Seti. I got to give him that. He just dropped the three-piece, I don't want to call it documentary, but 3 different videos on exposing Catholicism. Fire. When he's in his zone, nobody's research is better, nobody's graphics is better, nobody's spill is better. He has that fire. Very much needed. That shit was fire. That's the Seti that people fell in love with. Not the one where he's saying the marionette hasn't been deciphered because he doesn't have enough integrity or humility to say, yo, I fucked up and I took the debate I shouldn't have took. The debate he really wanted to take was have the marionette been translated, not deciphered. But he got himself in a hole and he didn't have the integrity to say, fuck, I fucked up. Instead, he just dodged the whole debate. Because he would have won has the marionette been translated. He could have won that debate. He couldn't win if it's been deciphered and still use the name Sara Suten Seti. Decipherment, translation is 2 different things. I'm not going to get into that. But that's the Seti that we fell in love with, not the one that's banging against the NOI and Elijah Muhammad. I mean, you just got to look at it like this. No matter what you think about him, you can't discount the fact that many people, millions of people throughout the decades, millions, some who I know personally, actually me personally, to some respect, to some degree, were saved by the Nation of Islam. I had Malcolm Flex on the show not too long ago. He grew up in South Central. Most likely he would be a rolling 60s Crip right now if it wasn't for the information of the Nation of Islam, if it wasn't for Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad. Instead, now he's a soldier for the right cause, putting in that good, righteous work. You can say the same thing about Rizza Islam. He grew up in Compton. Most likely he probably would have been a blood. But because of the information, because of his family, and these stories, there's thousands of these stories, millions of these stories of people who are on something else, but because of the Nation of Islam. So you can't discount the work that they have done that you can't duplicate. So if you say that the Nation of Islam, there's no more use for them, then you have to show us and produce, show and prove what you have to do. Show and prove that you can lead an organization, that you can found an organization, and that you can do good in the work so we can replace the Nation of Islam with what you're doing, and we'll support it. But all this other shit, it's not where it's at. And y'all act like you're doing it in the name of Malcolm X. You act like you're doing it because you love the legacy of Malcolm X. Let's look into that a little bit. Because most of y'all that are saying, "Oh, he killed Malcolm X and this and that's how come I can't fuck with him." No, initially, first of all, you haven't done enough research. Because if you did, you would never say that. You would never let the government off the hook if you really have done the research. But let's look at this. Since y'all want to act like you're doing this because you love Malcolm X so damn much. Well, the first thing I can say about that is you wouldn't have known of Malcolm X if it wasn't for a Nation of Islam. And if what he did was treacherous or treason to the Nation of Islam, we know the penalty for that. And I'm not excusing his death at all. I'm just saying, like, we have to really look at it, man. Because you guys are looking at it from an emotional way just to justify what you want to feel, or the fact that you don't really give a fuck about black people and you don't really understand the principles and staying on code and black nationalism. But let's just look at this. Since y'all act like y'all would have been rocking with Malcolm X, but most of y'all are the same cats who, when Jay-Z stopped talking about selling drugs and he started talking about black power and consciousness, y'all couldn't accept that because it's past. Oh, he used to sell drugs and all that and big pimping and all that. No, I can't. But y'all acting like y'all would accept Malcolm X. Most of y'all can't even accept when one of our celebrities or one of our brothers or sisters turn their life around and want to start giving back to the community. You won't accept that. But you're telling me that you would have accepted a man who was in prison, a man who used to deal with white women, a man who used to sell drugs, deal in the numbers, might have caught a body or two, turn his life around. Now imagine if there was a Facebook and a YouTube and an IG and a Twitter back in those days. How many of our people would have dragged him and not accepted his transformation? I could look at my big brother, Andre Taylor. Used to be a pimp, went to prison, came out, changed his life, got on some other shit. And there's still people to this day who will drag him about his past. But you're telling me that you guys would accept Malcolm X. Malcolm X was on his way to being a Frank Lucas. He was popular. He was known, a factor in the underworld. He was a factor as Malcolm Little, Detroit Red. Celebrities knew about this cat. He got busy. That's why he's so successful. He was so successful when he turned his life around, because he used that same passion. But y'all, the same ones who can't forgive our people for their past when they're trying to do good things, but you're acting like you would have really been rocking with Malcolm X. It's easy to say that now that he's been gone for 60 years. It's easy to say that in retrospect. Y'all the same ones who will down MLK, but you're actually benefiting from his sacrifice. No, not a sacrifice. Sacrifice is something you do reluctantly. He offered his life because he knew he was going to die. He still went. That means he offered his life for us. But y'all act, you know what I'm saying? But here you guys are going to public schools, sending your kids to public schools, riding public transportation wherever you want, shopping with white people, All the things that you say, oh no, it's bad, we integration, but you guys are continuing that legacy. You guys are taking advantage of the benefits that he died for. And at least one thing I could say about MLK, regardless of the fact that I didn't agree with the nonviolent shit, to me that's crazy, man. However, what the fuck? This was 60 years ago. In hindsight, we can look back and say that that was wrong. But he had to do that. He had to tread that path so we know it doesn't work. But he was sincere in what he was doing. He was sincere in his quest to help our people. And the reason I know this is because when he got a hold of better information, unlike what some of y'all are capable of doing, because a lot of y'all ain't capable of doing this. Even though he's been saying the same thing for all these years and mobilizing, as soon as he got a hold of some better information from Elijah Muhammad, he pivoted his message. That means that he was sincere and that he put his pride under what's best for our people. So when he learned better, he did better. But y'all don't do that. Y'all would rather just shut up when you realize that you've been wrong this whole time. You won't come back and say, yo, I had this thing wrong. Let's move like this. Thank you for the info. Y'all don't do that. Not only that, you guys only take what our enemies say. Y'all act like counterintelligence program wasn't real. Y'all act like there's not misinformation out there deliberately put out there to make us go against each other and to go against our grace. Y'all act like you're so down with the Garveys and those other of our prophets and messiahs. You act like you're really down with that, but you're not doing shit to add on to that. That's why I know y'all ain't serious. Y'all don't really believe that shit. You act like you believe in all these higher divine principles, morals, and gods, but you ain't doing shit. As soon as somebody makes it, it's the Illuminati. They had to sell their soul to the devil. Basically, what you guys are saying is there's no power greater than Satan. Therefore, any of our people that make it had to make a deal with the devil because the ancestors couldn't really help them. God couldn't really help them, protected and guided them. This is what you guys are indicating by what you're saying. So I'm just challenging some of y'all out there. I'm challenging y'all. Substantiate this shit that young Pharaoh's saying. And if you really care about young Pharaoh, you should tell him to chill out. Ask him why he's not banging against the beast. Ask him why he's not exposing these crooked police, these racist corporations. Why is he so fixated on destroying black people? And then ask him this. Ask him about all the money that he raised. Ask him about the money he raised under the name, under Sandra Bland's name. That Sandra Bland's family didn't get none of it. Ask him about that. Ask him about the logo and the nonprofit that he hijacked from Africa, the SOS. He still has the damn logo on the back of his little thing that he, said. He still has that SOS logo. He stole that shit, raised money under it. Ask him about the daycare that he was raising money for, knowing he, knowing he couldn't start a daycare because he's a felon. Ask him about that. Ask him about the money that he was raising for his legal fees when he had no legal fees at the time. That's why they took it down from GoFundMe. Ask him about that. I ain't counting his money, but he's raised well over 20,000, 20 racks for false shit. Meanwhile, he's saying that I'm not pro-black, I'm pro-righteous. What's righteous about that? What's righteous about putting words in a dead man's mouth, claiming that Malcolm X called Elijah Muhammad a pedophile? Show me that. He's never showed clips from that. He'll even tell you, here's what him saying that. He'll play the clip and it doesn't say that. Then he'll come back and rambling and you guys are, yeah, go Pharaoh, go King. You guys are, listen, I understand that a lot of y'all, a lot of the people that he gets support from, they ain't really black people. They're fake profiles. A lot of them are actually agents. And the rest are self-haters or people who don't really give a damn about truth. You just want something that resonates with you, that supports what you feel in your self-hate. You notice that when he has white people on his he doesn't talk to white people the way he talks to his own people. And he's debated white people. He didn't come disrespectful the way he does to our people. I think peeping that. So I know there's some people, no matter how much truth, no matter how much you bring to the table, they don't care about none of that. Well, those are the people, and this is why I do think young Pharaoh, because he's actually causing that divide that we need. See, he's actually making it to where we have to look at some of y'all like, yo, you are no good. We don't want you. You guys stay over there. We're glad that you're allowing us to identify you. Because I remember when, so I came up from actually doing work in the community, um, being introduced to knowledge of self and black pride and all that through my family and through the Nation of Islam. And because my first introduction to this involved actual community work, I didn't run into too many coons because not too many self-haters was out there willing to organize and do some of this work. So once I got a hold of the internet and the conscious community, and I would read people, they be saying, oh, there's so many cons, so many fakes, so many agents, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't believe it. So I couldn't believe it. Coming from where my show improving, my example was always in the community and everybody was 100% sincere and we put our money behind it. We put our time, our energy, our life on the line, whatever it took. I couldn't believe that people could have a knowledge of self, know our situation, and would still be playing games with this shit. Lo and behold, it was true. So it's easy for people to come up with a fancy name. Amin Hotep Seti Pharaoh Yasha Allah Bey Shaka this and that. It's easy for y'all to hide behind some of these names, a fake avatar, a picture of someone who might not even be you. It's easy for y'all to infiltrate in some of these live streams and put comments and do these kind of things and not be identified. So it's good to see that some of y'all who, no matter how much truth you're introduced to, no matter how obvious it should be, it's either you're too stupid to recognize the real shit. Well, that already makes you anybody default, or it means that you're agents, whether you're paid by the government or not. It's the same effect at this point. It's 2019. We don't need to be apologetic. We damn sure don't need to be off code, and we're so close to victory that our enemies are gonna pour everything they can. That's why fuck it, take Farrakhan off. He's starting to mobilize people in a way that we can't have that. He's gonna make us lose money because he's telling people to do for self. He's influencing these stars of ours that we make a mint off of, and now they're gonna start influencing the sheep to go the right way. We can't have that. That's why they took them off. And y'all are celebrating this. Pretty soon, I mean, they're making it illegal for blackness. This is why I want to say this. We do need our own social media, but we have it. melanatedpeople.net, melanated people in the app store. Look that up, get that. And there's other, but I'm gonna rock with melanated people because they've been supporting me and supporting Black Guy Stand for the last several years. What I'm saying is just think about who you're actually benefiting with this infighting and with us saying these despicable things with no proof to throw our own people under the bus. Organizations that are long standing have done, it doesn't matter if you don't like NOI. It doesn't matter. They've done so much. There's so many people whose life has changed because of that. And regardless of what you think, regardless, you're standing on the foundation partially built by Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey. They built the foundation. If you're in on any of this, proud to be black, any of this, being able to hold your head up straight, any of this, knowing what time it is, all these are the effects of Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad. Period. May peace be upon both of them men. Period. It doesn't matter if it's indirectly or directly. If you acknowledge it or not, that's just the truth. So just ask yourself, who does it really benefit? Anyway, go ahead and comment, like this, share this. Check out Black Guy Stand Radio on Blog Talk. Share this, get this information out. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.